Shell Benson. Welcome to our Shell Saturday Spiritual Special. That was hard to say. I just want to welcome y'all today. I saved my best for Saturdays, and so we got the best here with us today. This is my husband, Rufus Benson, and he knows more about marriage than anybody I know because he's married to me. It's kind of rough. And so, anyway, so we're going to talk a little bit about marriage today, and hopefully he'll be nice and behave, but we'll see. So I want to welcome my husband, Rufus Benson. You have anything to say before we get started?
I love y'all.
He's the quiet one. Okay. First I want to ask, what does marriage mean to you?
To me, marriage is two people that are committed to each other. No matter what's going on, you always have the other one's back. You're there for them when they're sick. You're there for them when they're well. You're there for them even when you're mad at them. You keep the same frame of mind. I understand y'all are two individual people. So you're going to think differently and disagree about stuff, but I do believe that if you love each other enough, you'll try your best to pretty much stay close to the same state of mind that your spouse is in, because that's probably the only way you're gonna get along.
Amen. And that's absolutely. You hear so many people talk about what marriage means to them, and for most single people, marriage means what's in it for me. Oh, I can stop being lonely. I can start having sex according to God's word. And, I'm going to marry a rich man. Oh, I'm going to marry this fine girl so I can show her to all my buddies. And most people take the approach of marriage as the what's in it for me. But once you get into it, you start out with that, if you start with that mentality, you're going to figure out pretty quick that the what's in it for me mentality does not work. That you're going to learn what can I do for them. And that's the only way your marriage is going to survive. And so, you talked about what benefits the other person. So what are some ways that you can benefit the other person in a marriage?
Well, to start out with, your frame of mind. You got to make sure that when you get involved in any type of relationship, instead of thinking about you, that's a two-person process. Of course, human nature is going to automatically steer you in the direction of, what am I going to get out of this, but just simply because of self-preservation. But, when you're dealing with two people in one relationship, the self-preservation mode has to leave. You've got to think about, it's your job to make that other person, respect you or want to be around you, depending on what you do. The biggest way you can benefit a person is to make sure that your mind is right when you get into that relationship, no matter what it is. That way you won't be selfish about stuff, and you'll make that person feel, wanted and appreciated, which is, each person's job in the relationship. But your love has to be directed at them. Because if your love is only directed at you, they're going to know that you only love you, and that relationship is going to pretty much diminish.
Right, and he talks about loving the other person, and loving the other person, loving this person is not the same as loving the next person. You have to know how to love that person and what it takes to love them, because we all have different needs. Gary Chapman wrote the book 5 Love Languages, and we all have a different love language. Like mine is words of affirmation. And that's so I need to hear the words, and he's more acts of service. The way he shows he loves me is through his acts of service, doing things for me. And so therefore, since that's his natural way of thinking, that's what he wants for me. And so I have to show him love. He don't want to hear a bunch of words. To him, words are meaningless. So not meaningless, but action to him, he's an action guy. And so in order for me to show him that I love him, I have to show action. Words are not going to cut it. And you have to know that person and know how they think, not just how they don't think just like you. They're not you. They have a totally different DNA, different personality, and they were raised differently. So stop, thinking of things how you would think about it. I heard a lady one time talk about, she was preaching on marriage, but basically, like I walked out of there like really confused, because she basically told us how to be married to her husband, what he likes, run his bath. I was like, my husband don't take a bath. He takes a shower. Like, how can I, and like things like make his plate. And me personally, I like to make my own plate because I put the right, the amount of food that maybe I want more potatoes out of that day. And to me, I'm giving him the choice, and he's not the type that expects that. So it doesn't, he makes his own plate. I make my own plate now. But if it's something where, a lot of people are eating, I'll set him aside a plate so he'll have some. But if he's there at the time, it's just knowing the person. Like, my husband doesn't need or want his plate made. Learning that, when you're learning from a person to helping you to know how to be married, take what they say, and apply it to your relationship. You can't treat